Welcome back to the Anisha and Sunjay show. Thank you very much for joining me. I have a special guest with me today. I've decided to bring my friend Grant Goes in for a little chat, just a quick, short kind of a coffee chat. We're going to have a little coffee break chat. The reason I wanted to do this is because I've been thinking recently a lot about having fun. So through the gratitude journal, if you haven't seen the gratitude journal, go and check out the video. But through doing that gratitude journal, I realized how much I enjoy what I do every day. And sometimes I feel guilty about that. And the one person I thought of that would never, ever feel guilty about having a good time is this man right here. So Grant, thank you. Welcome back to, I say welcome back because you have been on the podcast before. So go and check that episode out. I think it was episode 5 or 6, really early in days. But anyway, for today's discussion, I wanted to just get straight into that topic of enjoying yourself and doing the things that you love. So just for people that don't know you, give us a kind of elevator pitch about you and who you are and what you do.
Elevator pitch. I love living life. I always have, to be honest. And if I'm very more honest about it, I've probably been inconsistent. And what I've learned of late, and as I've developed myself, we're all growing, is to live life. And unfortunately, it's that simple. But I think one of the biggest things that myself and everyone needs to be learning is how to do that. And like you just kind of said, I feel kind of guilty having fun, or I feel like I have these responsibilities, so I need to do that. And one of the biggest things that I've especially noticed now, only literally in these last few weeks where I've started to get back into the space, is just that it's not necessarily that people don't know what they want to do. They just don't know how to do it, or they're a bit unsure of why they should do it. So it's the how and the why that a lot of people are missing. So yeah, I'm active. I love to learn. I love to just have a laugh. I love to love, which is something I had to learn, and we'll probably quickly go through that in a bit as well. And I'm about growing. I'm completely about growing as a person forever and ever, until my final breath. So elevator pitch, tick.
Love it. Thanks, Grant. Okay, look, so I went out onto social media and I put some questions out to our audience on Anisha and Sunjay, and I got some questions back for you. So I'm going to dive straight into these so we can just get into some of the good stuff. So in no particular order. So the first one here is, how do I know if what I think is my passion really is the thing that I should go all in on? What do you think about that?
All in on. That's a great question. That's a really, really great question, because I think that's probably the biggest fear that most of us will ever face, because it is that fear of, will I make it? Will I succeed? And we all have this different level of success when we're thinking about it. It might be monetary, it might be emotional, it might be financial, as far as supporting your way of life. Because obviously there's different levels when we talk about success financially. People want to be super rich, the yacht, the buildings, the homes, the houses, the travel, where others just simply want to be able to survive day to day. So yeah, based around that question, how do I know if it's something you go all in on? Well, my biggest thing is I've seen and read many different studies, and I follow many people that take different studies from people that are 80 plus, people that are on their so-called deathbed. I mean, 80 is still many years to live, especially with technology and medicine these days. It used to be, you live to 80, that's the expected life age. Well, actually, there's a lot of people now living over 100, 120 that are still active. I literally saw on social media this morning some Chinese guys, like a group of them, they were ripped and shredded. They're doing pull-ups, they're doing like the planks, or what do they do, the parkour stuff, that they're hovering with their legs. I was like, wowza, there's 80. There's a guy, he's off Ghostbusters. I can't remember his real name. And he's gone viral now over the internet. You would have seen him. He's 79 and he's in phenomenal shape. He looks like us. Feel like another 40 years he's got on us, but he still looks like he's 40, put it that way. And then I suppose that there's another part of this too, when you think about this question, is that, do you go all in? Well, first of all, my question is yes. 100% you should always go in, because you do have one life. You just got to be sensible about how you go into it. And that's my only question I put back to someone. You should never think like, oh no, I'm not going to do this. Are you freaking crazy? At the end of the day, it is your life. You have this wonderful chance. Why would you not do the one thing you love? You just need to figure out how, and this is what the most important thing is, how do you monetize it? Or how do you get to a point where money is not the problem anymore? Because that's the only issue that stops us from moving forward at any of these things. It's literally, I can't afford the rent. I can't afford the kids' schooling. I won't be able to afford to provide for my wife or my husband or partner, whatever. That is the only issue you need to sort out. And so when it comes to that, it's having a proper plan and understanding that it's not going to happen like this, unless you're very fortunate, unless you were over the last maybe 5, 10, 20 years or whatever, you've been putting money aside. You're very good with money management. You know how to budget. You got that part sorted. Great. The next step is, okay, well, that's eventually going to run out. So what is it that you do? So for example, with you, Sunjay, it's podcasting, right? So it's about sharing passion of learning and knowledge, hearing from other people, understanding them. And there's a lot of many ways that you can monetize this. And it simply comes down, from my understanding, is interest. If someone's interested in what you do, they will pay you for knowledge. They will pay you, Sanjay, how did you get into podcasting? What was the first thing you bought? What was the microphone you used? How did you set up the angles? Why did you, blah, blah, blah. And he goes on and on and on, right? This is value to other people because they don't want to necessarily know how a camera works. What they want to know is how to get through these barriers to get to a point of, I can do this on the go. I can do this while I'm traveling. That's what they want to know, and that's what you're actually selling, and that's how you monetize a lot of these things. So going back to the original side, but 100%, you should go for your passion. It's about understanding the plan that needs to come into place, and you simply do that by asking people like Sanjay, like myself, that have put themselves in these positions, that have gone through, I would be honestly say, the hurt to get to where they are, or still going through the hurt, to be honest, to be able to live the life that ultimately want to. So when it gets to the end of our life or our chapter, our book, whatever you want to call it, you go, you know what? I'm glad I did and not regret that I wish I had.
Love it. I think I want to just add to that, the all-in part of that question, I think, is misleading, because I feel like people believe there's this kind of, maybe this, I don't know, this vision of that being all it means. I quit my job today. I sell my house. I put all my money into this passion because I want to go and play piano. So I'll go and buy the most expensive piano. No, that's not what going all in means. Just dip your toe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just going all in means is look at your time. That's how I look at it, right? So I look at my time, because time is something I can't get back. Mm-hmm. So if I'm thinking about doing something, if I'm thinking about, I'm stuck on that hamster wheel. We've spoken about this. We spoke about this on our live, so I won't repeat what we said there. But this thing that I want to do, am I already doing? Am I allocating any of my time to it at the moment? So if you do a little time audit and you find, like I have in the past, hands up, that I spent a lot of my time in the evening giving it to Netflix, right? I used to spend a lot of my time giving it away to other services. Then I wasn't getting much value back from that.
Yeah.
So what else can I do with that time? Well, okay, if I'm interested in my case, videography and video editing, let's just start spending that time finding out about that thing. And then that's the first thread, isn't it? And you pull on that thread, and then it can take you down to the Allison's rabbit hole. but it's that first step was just taking that interest in doing that thing, and going all in for me wasn't straight away, right? It's happened over a process of 5, 6, 7 years, if not more. So I think look at the time audit. I want to move on because we've got more questions, and I want to try and keep.
There's one part that that question, because how do I know if, and really the key point of that, if because you will do.
Yes.
That's how you know if.
How do you feel? How do you feel when you're doing the thing? That's how I answer that question. It's like, how do I feel when I'm doing the thing that I'm questioning? And if I feel good inside, it makes me feel like I'm doing something worthwhile. If I get into that flow state when I'm doing it, that's another thing from editing. I just used to time disappears, right? The thing, you do something, and before you know, you think, what? It's like 7 hours have gone by, right?
Christmas.
That's that's the thing.
100%.
So, anyway.
Okay, cool.
Have you had a major moment of adversity that you've had to navigate to get to where you are?
Are we talking about singular?
Yeah,
what kind of question is that?
that was going to be my follow-up as well. Absolutely. Look, I'll start on this one. Yes, yeah, many. And there's probably going to be many more to come, right? And linking this back to the first question, some of those rabbit holes and some of those things aren't going to be the ones that you need to go, you're going to do it and it might not be the one that works for you. And that's okay as well, right? So failure is a part of this. And failure, people look at adversity as failure. I don't. So I don't want to I want to be clear about that. But I can understand why people do look at, in my case, it was a marriage failing and you actually corrected me on this, Grant, and you said, did it really fail? It was the end of a marriage, prematurely. Yeah. That was my first moment. So people look at that as a negative thing. However, some really good things for me have come out of that. I met my current wife, who I would never have met if that hadn't happened, and I've got 2 lovely children. So, yes, adversity is there. I think we have to learn to embrace the adversity. And I say this in a way that it's easy to say with rose-tinted spectacles, right? Or easy to say in hindsight. But
yeah,
you, in that moment, in those dark moments, if someone says to you, this is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to you, you'll never, ever see that viewpoint, right? You will never, ever, ever see that viewpoint. And I know because I've been there, and then people used to say that to me, and I used to get really annoyed. However, if I really reflect back and look back,
how could you say this?
Yeah, I think they were right, and that's just my experience of it. Anyway, adversity, Grant.
It's funny because I've took many years to understand this, and one thing that I believe in is that you don't grow without it. In fact, you don't grow without failures in your life. You don't grow without mistakes in your life. If you're going like, if you see someone, you see anybody famous, successful, well off, in the right place or where they got to, it's only because they had to go through adversities to get there. It's like a river running. A river doesn't just run a direction for the sake of just runs. It runs there because the landscape takes it. It has to go through rocks or over trees, other branches, down holes, things like that. We've all come from adversity. Some is just different adversity to others, or it comes in different shapes, forms, and what we've all had to go through is you don't understand the privileges you get unless you've gone through the adversities where you thought you didn't have a chance or you didn't have anything available to you. So I think it's more that there are going to be larger adversities that we will go through that will have dramatic changes. I've gone through one in the last couple of months, and it was through a breakup. But you know what? It's as horrible as it is, and I always say this, I'm not necessarily grateful for it, but I am also grateful for it because it allows me to take the next step further in life to grow with the person I want to be. Because if I'm very honest further, the 5 years, maybe 10 years, 15 years was inconsistency of knowing what I've wanted, gone for it, and then heard judgment from other people. And now adversity just gone like, wow, sometimes you have to go through it 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever times before it'll finally click with you. And you're like, you know what? I'm settled on, I'm going to make this change a permanent change now. And one of the good things from me that came out was someone put this down to, you actually only have around 29,000. If you live to the age of 80, you have 29,000 days. So how do you want to spend each of those days? Think about that. You've got a very limited amount of time. I heard it the other day, someone says, how old's your mum and dad? They're saying, it's around about the age of 60. How often do you see them? Maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. Great. So you haven't got, let's say if they live to the age of 80, you haven't got 20 years left with them. If you've already seen them once a year, you only got 20 more times that you're going to be with them and visit them. That's the relativity of it all. So when it comes down to adversity, it's about, I've heard this one as well, the faster you absorb a lesson and apply it, that's where it shows your intelligence. If you get given a lesson and you ignore it over and over again, you're dumb. Sorry, but you literally are, because you're not taking the lesson in order to grow, to be a better you and a better self. So I tell people, embrace adversity. I myself am going through that same thing and I'm embracing it. I'm saying, look, this happened for a reason, and the reason is coming. The reason is this. It now gives me the opportunity for every day of my life. I literally think I want to have the best day of my life. I'm not waiting to get to a certain point. I'm not waiting to be someone. I'm not waiting to be financially whatever. It's literally, I have an opportunity to enjoy what life has for me today. Wake up. I'm breathing. Great. Awesome. Amazing. That's a brilliant start. The second part of that is learning. Learning just anything. Part of me is a language. The second part of me is I want to learn a fact. So like today I learned about the highest mountain in the world isn't Everest. It's actually Maui Loa and Maui Kea, and it's a Hawaiian volcano. It just happens to be that 6 kilometers of this mountain is under the ocean, so it's not considered the tallest mountain. So that's just part of learning. It's just another fact you can bring out. So adversity, I think you've got to fight it. You've got to go find it. You find adversity or find your fear in order to break through it, to have a better life or better living or better understanding of who you want to be in this person. So adversity, bring it on.
Love it. Love it. No more to be said on that one. I like this one. It's kind of linked to this, I guess, a little bit, so we can kind of move on to this one. I'm scared of failure and what other people will say if I follow my dreams.
Yeah, we definitely it's I don't want to say the word hate, but I think there's a part of this one. The thing is with this one here is you're not the only person. You're never going to be the only person. You're never alone here at any 8 billion people. And out of 8 billion people, we're talking about 7,999,000,000 people go through exactly the same thought on a daily basis. They're scared of failure and what other people will say when you follow your dreams. It kind of goes back to what we said at the start here. It's, if you jump into the deep end of the pool, you don't know how to swim. Well, yeah, you could be in a lot of trouble and you'll end up out of here. But if you learned to swim or had some understanding about water before you jumped into that deep end, so you learned how to tread or you learned how to float and to keep yourself up, this lowers the risk. It allows you to then become successful. So why are you scared of failure? You're scared of failure, and if you're scared of failure because of what other people will say, then the very honest and blunt answer here is that you're around the wrong people. You're around the wrong people. If they're going, and unfortunately, this comes from our closest people, our friends, our partners, our family, friends, and partner, are the people that are the ones that inflict their thoughts onto us. And of course, we trust them, we love them the most, so we want to, have this a mutual respect towards each other. And so, what I think the balance has to be here is that if they are trying to help you navigate towards that dream, then that's the sign you're looking for. If they're saying, oh, you'll never do it, you'll never be a singer, you'll never be a pilot, you'll never be an astronaut, you'll never be blah, 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 this, then yeah, that's the wrong environment. And to be even more upfront, you need to have the courage to say thank you, but no thank you to these people. Because that's the only way, that's the first step of you breaking through that scarcity or that scared of failure attitude and getting towards, hey, I am scared. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm asking for help. And if you are able and you want to be able to help me, that's amazing. Great. I'm all ears. I'm all open for it. Because again, it goes back to what we said at the start. You can sit there and live someone else's life, or you can accept that not everyone's going to agree, believe, trust, or want to help you. And you need to take this action yourself in order to get that ball rolling. And it's an accept that people aren't out there for their best intentions. So yeah, scared of failure and what other people say. If I follow my dreams, there's just as many people out there that are going to tell you you're not going to make it as there are people that are going to tell you you can make it. There's no reason why you can't make it. If you think about the world, and this is what I love to think. I'm sorry, I feel like I go blah, blah, blah. But we think about these impossible things because we think about, for example, a building. You don't know how to make a building. Well, no, you don't. Why? Because you've never been in that space and learned how concrete's made, where the metal comes from, how you wire electricity, what are you worried about with surveying, or when you think about earthquake protection, or height, or wind, wind resistance, or what do you want to call it, something like that. I don't know about buildings. But the thing being is that people have built these People have created airwaves. People have created TV. People have created live stream. People created this. People like you and I have done exactly that because they simply followed a dream, because they followed a passion, because they simply followed an idea, a spark that came into their mind, a dream that they had that turned into reality. So just like them, you are just as 100% capable as long as you have the courage to step into that space.
Yeah, I think the other thing about worrying about what people are saying, I think is you said it, you touched on it there, in that there are so many other people that will tell you what you do want to hear. So surround yourself with those voices. And we live in a time now where it's so easy. This is another thing. Unreal. I'm always really I'm so grateful for this, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if we did not live in the time that we lived in right now. I was able to learn and find those voices myself by just going online, right? And this is where I think social media gets a bad rap, but I vouch. I'm in the pro social media camp for this reason, from learning, from growth, from you can find the voices, you can find the people. It doesn't even be people there are motivational Instagram I watched that running one I shared with you, and I went and made a video about it. I copied him. This guy makes amazing running. He's got a drone going on, and I had me on a selfie cam, and I just chucked it in black. But it inspired me.
Yeah.
Right? It inspired me that day to go out for a run and make that video. And so my point is, you can go and find the voices that you want to hear, and that's it. I've said this enough.
But what you're saying is 100% correct, and that's actually one of the barriers that most of us face, is that we're like going, I don't know how. But like you said, there's an abundance of information out there, and unfortunately, it's not going to come.
It's not an excuse anymore.
Yeah, no.
It's not an excuse anymore. I'm sorry.
There's
I don't know how.
No way that you can not read a book, not search Google, not search Amazon if you're looking for a product, not search on YouTube, not search podcast. It's so accessible. And if you don't chase your dreams, someone else will.
Or if you don't chase your dreams, I heard this one the other day, someone else will pay you for them to chase theirs.
Yeah.
So you're going to end up working for someone who's basically chasing their dreams.
Yeah.
And that really kind of resonated with me. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. Last one here is, I feel like I'm stuck in the rat race and I'm too old to change lanes now. Any advice? That's the question. Well, that's the comment. It's not really a question, is it? As I'm the elder statesman here,
you got more grey in the beard, mate.
I feel like I'm more qualified to talk about. Listen, right, I have thought this my entire life, right? This whole kind of playing with the age thing. So I became a fitness professional when I was 30, and that played on my mind so much. And I remember speaking to so many people about that. I've become a videographer and an editing professional at the age of 39. Right. So, and I still feel like there's another one coming ahead. I still often there's another gear change coming. I don't know what it is. Right. I don't know. And I'm quite excited for what it's going to be. Look, there's no such thing as you're too old. I really don't believe that. And I look, if you're healthy, if you're, and I mean relatively healthy, you're able-bodied, you're of sane mind and all those good things. And there's nothing, again, just like Grant was saying earlier, there's nothing stopping you. I think age is just something, again, that other people portray on us, that, you're getting too old, or you're going to be too old. I think that's just a narrative that we pick up from our environment. And actually, when you, just as Grant was saying earlier, when you think about all those people that are living in places like the blue zones until they're 120 and they're doing all these things, you look at the things, why are they living to that age, right? Well, one of the things is they've done something their entire life, which is linked to their purpose, right? They've followed their dreams, they've worked their passions. And I think that's the only way you can really kind of achieve that true freedom. So, age ain't nothing but a number.
It's funny when I look at this, I'm like going, that's the cliche, that's the saying, age is just number. I don't even think about it as age. There's things we talk about the rat race. There's things we talk about being a reason. There's a reason you were doing the job. You are doing the job that you're doing now, and the reason is probably safety, protection of your family, financial security. There's a reason you're in this rat race, because you believe, or you have this thought of, if you're single, that your status or your value to the world is based on the car you drive, the house you have, the money you provide. You know what? It's very honest. If you feel like you're stuck in a rat race, then what you need to do is have a look back at let's say the last holiday you took. And you look back at that holiday and you went, did you think about work? Really? Or did you worry about what was going on in the office at that time or the car that you drove? I bet you weren't anywhere near the flash stuff that you had. I bet when you went on that holiday, you were just thinking about the good times. You probably had relative feelings to when you were a child and the freedom to just be yourself. My thing would be that. But when it comes to, are you too old to change? Now, if you have an understanding of, look, I'm not doing what I love. If you're doing what you love and you're in this rat race and you love it, you love trading, you love making money, you love doing sales, that's awesome. But if you also have a hobby, if you have on the side where you like, maybe it's dancing, it's drawing, it's writing, it's poetry, it's singing, it's music, it's something else out there, it's podcasting, then is it too late to change lanes? Well, who said the lane change has to be an immediate change? Why can't it be over the next 2 to 5 years where you're just enjoying your hobby, you're talking to someone? Now, this is what happens with most hobbies. If you're that good at your hobby, someone will ask you to help them. Someone will pay you money to actually help them. And then when that happens, you think, oh, okay, look, I can actually monetize this. I can sell my stuff and try to go into somewhere else because I've got a few clients now who are paying me. And it's not about I need to do it here and then and now. It's about the feel of, hey, I'm in this space, but actually I enjoy this more. Let me just do a little bit of this on the side. Let me develop this and let it grow organically, let it grow naturally, because that'll give you a better foundation.
Yeah, 100%. It's just, we've kind of repeated a lot of what we said as well. It's just, you don't have to go all in, dip your toe and see how it goes. Amazing. Grant, that was awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Anisha and Sunjay show. I think we answered those questions relatively well. I'd like to do this again some point, maybe on another topic, another discussion. But let me know what you think. So if you enjoyed this, let me know. Leave your comments in the comments section. Grant, any final words from you?
Just one about how you find your purpose. Your purpose is doing the things you love around the people that love to do it.
Love it. Enough said. Grant, it's been magic. Thank you, mate. Sweet.